Your account is dad didn't peel GG?
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Just to clarify, let me get my Epic Pen booted up. But essentially, we're looking over your Moon Knight gameplay, but it's specifically on your no HUD, no ret playthrough, right? So
Mhm.
you pretty much have no visual information that the game sort of gives you. It's literally just you and your eyes, which is an
Yeah.
interesting concept. So with that being said, if there are like minor mechanical issues, I'm probably gonna overlook them because I also understand the circumstances in which that you're playing. Wouldn't it be funny if we did the entire VOD review with like the overlay off as well? But cool. The unique thing about my coaching
Mhm.
is the fact that it's very compositional. So back in Overwatch, I was known for compositional coaching. So I started as a one-on-one coach. So I worked with individual characters, and how I learned team play was that I brought all of these puzzle pieces in together, and essentially I made macro out of any 5 or 6 combinations of characters whatsoever. So that's what I'm really, really good at.
Mhm.
So going into ranked, and I think that this is a good tip for climbing ranked. Um, you have to analyze fight one. Cool. And I haven't done this breakdown in a while, but this is what I would describe it as. So the things that impact how you play the game. Number one is map. Number two is side. But obviously right now we're on domination, right? So side doesn't really matter that much.
Right.
Um R comp, and I deliberately leave a lot of space between point 3 and point 4 because from fight 2, so I'm gonna say one fight passes. From fight 2, we adapt our playstyle to the enemy comp. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So, with
Okay.
with that being said, what map are we on?
Domination Clintar.
Yeah. So what would your win condition on your specific character be in your eyes?
So, or looking at the, am I assuming that I'm not looking at the enemy
Yeah.
comp right
Right
now,
now
or
we have
looking at
no
the?
idea what the enemy comp is, right? So looking at and focus on the map as well. Disregard your
Okay.
comp because we'll get to that.
Okay. I usually try to look for, an off angle and then just like find a support, throw on combo, burst them down as quickly as possible, then round back to my team for a team fight.
Hmm.
That way they're down a support, but I can still do Moon Knight damage flooding. Like where
Nice.
there's one support, but if they try to damage flood back, we have two supports getting their ult. So next ult fight is much more in our favor.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So what you've commented on is completely correct. Essentially, pre-fight, there is a poke phase. This is when you play the off angle. And then during the brawl phase, you kind of um, play more stacked with your team, if that makes sense. Or how I would rather put it is you play to help with tank cooldown
Mhm.
matchup. And now, in this specific situation, I am using the term brawl phase, but actually, the dive phase comes at a very, very similar point in time, right? If we
Mhm.
were on a dive playing team, I would literally describe this moment in time as the dive phase. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we have Magic and we have Bucky, right? So the phase we know for sure is going to be a brawl phase. With that being
Yeah.
said, since I've already commented on the fact that we have Magic, we have Bucky, we have Hulk, we have Loki. We are on a brawl comp. How can you play off the back of these heroes here? Is there anything that we can kind of look out for that you can play off the back of? Are there any characters that you don't interact with at all on your team?
So one thing I love playing with, especially on Moon Knight, is Magic.
Hmm.
Magic is like my main or any dive character. If you could play dive, I will stand directly behind you and I'll either start the hit by taking their utility, then you make your hit directly after,
Hmm.
or while you're making your hit, I'll go for follow up. So say there's an invisible woman, for example. if she jumps way away from me or way away from the enemy diver, I'm gonna throw my onk exactly where she lands and then just like burst her out.
Yep. Cool. And you need to get into the habit of rationalizing this at the start of every single game, right? That entire format. So you probably, like, just knowing you and consuming your content, you give it a lot more thought than the majority of people. So if you actually want like a system that will stabilize these thoughts, you know what I mean, and give it an actual order, is map, side, R comp, then from fight to enemy comp. Because this is just the concept of adaptations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But going into that first fight, we seem to have a very, 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 very strong plan. And let's just play it out.
Now I sort of wish I hadn't worn all white.
I'm pretty sure I go left here, and then I think I see.
On your toes. Love
Yeah,
medicine.
We should destroy the Ark.
Took out the other Moon Knight's onk.
yeah. I think the moment I saw Star Lord, I was like, yeah, I'm not off English.
Yeah. I have a very nice little tip for you. And this goes for honestly, it's feedback that I have kind of come up with, in the sense that a lot of coaches will tell you different things. But one thing that really helped me with competing in all games is the concept of pathing on characters with like any sort of poke capability. It's
Mhm.
pathing in the open and aiming at enclosed space. So the reason why this is
Mm,
strong is because if you path up top, you have a sight line to where you can get a whole bunch of like connected hits with your ankhs, with your primary fire, blah 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 blah. This isn't just a Moon Knight concept. Because if we
yeah,
actually flip it around, let's say um, you're a Phoenix, you know, you can see a whole bunch of stuff in those sort of positions. But then alternatively, where do you think the enemy Phoenix would want to be?
probably behind. Wait, in the open, like on the right side or on the
Just
left side? I'm
in
sorry.
general, if you were a Phoenix, where would you want to set up?
Oh, on height.
Yeah, you'd
Oh yeah,
probably
on
want to
height.
set up on this lane as well. So actually by pathing on open early means that we can actually clear this Phoenix and force her to play in very, very low value positions very early on. Does that make sense? So
Mm,
even if you're on a brawl character, like you could be on Punisher, and people would say, oh, Punisher would really like this enclosed space. Yeah, fair enough, he would. But if you're on Punisher and you're playing into a Phoenix and that Phoenix is on height, that's her high
mm,
value position. So by playing Punisher in an area where he might not necessarily want to be, actually does 10 times more, because you're forcing Phoenix in an area of the map where she is like useless. Does that make sense?
right. And I have the better comp to make hits up here. So say for example, if the Phoenix came up here and then me and my Magic both came up here,
Mm-hmm.
well, that Phoenix isn't gonna want to fight Magic because I'm gonna make a hit directly after she uses like her flash
Mm-hmm.
step and then I'm gonna kill her.
Exactly, yeah. So that concept is not even just about high grounds, it's open space versus enclosed space. You always want to walk
Mm.
open and look at enclosed. And I'm telling you, you're gonna get so much free value doing that.
I almost in a weird note, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I always try to use his for my specific Moon Knight style. I try to use like a grenade, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I'll poke someone down, like they'll walk behind, then I'll onk. And I don't know if that's a consistently good idea or if I should just let them be healed and then like try to take advantage of them like rotating away.
Well, how long have you been doing this for? Like how long have you been making plays like that? How long have you been trying to do that for?
So even before like there was like the PC versus console stuff, like where people really started seeing me play Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing Moon Knight for a while, and I never really liked sit in main Moon Knight. Like I
Yeah.
usually try to off angle all the time.
Yes.
I made a video recently with Shibby where like or against Shibby where I after the second point or after first point of Spider Islands, you know, like where it goes through the gate
Mm-hmm.
and that giant building.
Yeah.
That first building roof, I sat there for like 3 minutes just shooting downward. I'm like, and if they don't mark me, I'm going to stand there. I'm
Mhm.
going to camp height and try to win fights like that. Basically, play ginormous quotation. This is ginormous quotation mark. Flank knight.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's completely fine. The reason why I asked you how long you've been doing it for is like, if you said like a week and I'm not too sure about it, then obviously I would question it a lot more. But since you've been playing this style in months and there hasn't been a serious indicator as to, oh, this is not good, it's probably viable in a lot of situations, and that is an indicator for me that you should keep on doing it. The cool thing about ranked is like everything is subjective. I'm a true believer that there can't be objective answers in a lot of cases because this game is so much about human error and reacting to stimuli and planning better than the enemy team, if that makes sense, right? So the reason why I ask people to make a plan, what map is it? How do you want to play this? Blah, 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 blah. I will never tell them that their plan is wrong because guess what? That conscious thought that you're putting 30 seconds before the game begins is going to be the thing that wins you the game, regardless of how bad that plan is. Does that make sense? But yeah, the reason why I'm just up here is because I think if you pathed on the open space, actually, this is an extremely free angle and you're doing a lot more. I also wanted to comment on the fact that your playstyle using your Angst as a grenade is not bad because it encourages playmaking capability. And I think in ranked, you kind of need to make plays on every single character if you want to do well. Or if you want to climb at least. Cool. Now, transitioning to setup. This is an interesting one because the team is split in half. There's cleanup, and then there's setup. I would usually say the more mobile characters on our comp should look to cleanup, whereas the more stationary, like poke-based map control characters should prioritize setting up, right? So right now, I actually don't think you need to turn because the fact of the matter is 4 or 5 people on your team are turning right now. There's no way anyone on the enemy team can win a 1v5. However, what they can do is they can live versus a 1v5. And what they're trying to do, the Star-Lord is doing something called opening the map, right? So what this is, if we're stuffing these chokes and we're making it really, 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 really hard for people to pass through, this is extremely overpowered to the extent where the main ways that they can break this is overcommitting ults or opening the map. So it's the concept of forcing us to move in different positions by using their mobile characters to flank, forcing us to leave this area of space and kite back to market. Does that make sense? And that's exactly what he's doing. And so your character definitely can't stuff the choke on his own. But what he can do is force resources, pressure people out. I'm a big, big, big fan of taking fights really close up in the chokes, because when they actually get to the areas of space that mean something, aka point, they're going to be down those high value cooldowns, and they're going to be down those cooldowns from as early as first choke. Does that make sense?
So it's kind of like why. Okay, I feel like I get these concepts, but like they disconnect in some points. Like, for example, I really love fighting against invisible. Like when both supports don't have mobile ults, I like to fight in that area because you can get the fight started, but we're gonna peel back to point and then start our ult fight. Right? We don't even have to greet it.
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah, no, but it's true because like this is a concept that I've developed, and even before when Invis first got brought out, I used to think the Invis ult was really bad because that was when Strange Hulk was pretty decent, right? Which meant that we could just Hulk bubble our Strange ult in, and we deliberately played comps like the Moon Knight, like the Strange, that could literally punish a stationary area. Does that make sense? So the fact that like a Loki Invis backline, for example, is very stationary. Yeah, it's the same sort of concept. But forcing resources exists forever. And I think that your cover fire alone is actually delaying their push, which is really good. But I would stay shooting. Right?
Yeah, I probably kept hearing Star-Lord fire, and I'm like, where is he? So fear is probably also a big thing. I have an irrational fear of Star-Lord.
Yeah. I mean,
Because anytime I fight good Star-Lord, he full mags me, and I'm like, okay, well.
it is true. But this is a juicy amount of like you get your ult from this and you cast your ult from this, most likely, you know? But it looks like we're playing more of a divey setup. So this is good trigger discipline. If we do convert a kill here, really good. Okay, that's really good. Do you see? And this is what I mean when I say like, okay, I would probably take this fight in a different way, but actually what you did was set up for an actual play, which converted, and in my opinion, is probably a better plan than what I would have necessarily done, which is largely sticking to fundamentals. You know what I mean? And your Moon Knight ulting the disengage, which makes sense, which is fine. I'm never gonna.
I felt so bad after ult, and I'm like, fuck.
Nah, I would never criticize the Moon Knight for popping ult because I do think it's a very disposable ult. I do think it's a very disposable ult.
Also, if you see me randomly AFK, I'm probably talking to chat or something.
Okay.
I didn't need to right click there.
It's unfortunate. You got forced out, but your team is still like hard popping off. Just make sure you're actually set up for the next fight. Right now, we're looking to build our ults as fast as possible. We probably have this point in our control. I mean, it's fine.
I didn't need to jump there.
Yeah, but the death doesn't really mean anything. Sorry.
I take death as personal shame. When I die, I'm like, I'm a fucking son. I'm like, why did this happen to me? I'm a terrible player.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at stats, 3,000 damage. You're matching the enemy Moon Knight 2 damage. What's interesting there is he has more deaths, so for his uptime he's doing more. Having said that, he's doing more damage doesn't necessarily mean that it's valuable damage. He could just be shooting tank perma. So from this, like holding tab, sometimes I definitely do think you can tell stuff from lead, like, you know, the scoreboard. But the reason why I don't recommend a lot of people to tell is because they're let's just say the deduction skills is probably not gonna be as strong as like someone like me, for example. You know what I mean? So right now the scoreboard doesn't really tell me much in terms of your matchup. I think you had way more explosive kills and more high value individual plays, whereas their Moon Knight was probably farming damage off of anything that he could see in any given moment. So right here,
I think on this half, the enemy Moon Knight actually just start diffing me like bad.
keep this in mind. Bit of a proximity issue. Playing a bit too close. Why did we jump forward here?
I wanted it bad. So, right, if you could pause or do like one more frame.
It's gonna be difficult to do one more frame. Well, like play it for forward.
Or you could slow it down, yeah.
Yeah.
Right there, I saw the enemy Luna, and I tried to combo into her.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's combo is as simple as 1, 2, 3. And if I can get her, even if I die, I'm okay with that.
And the double jump opens up that sight line, right? The vertical.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to hit. Okay. So the double jump, fine. We're attempting to go for it. This forces resources early. This technically is still the poke phase, but the second you land, because you're very much in there, I would consider you're in brawl territory now. So you force brawl phase very, very early. And for me,
I think I died to the Ankh Ricochet from Magic. Now that I'm looking at it. I think Magic got hit while TPing.
Yeah. That's fine. I think you should see the Lunar ult as a trigger to stack on your Luna though, no, during this phase of the fight. I feel like if you're here, there's no reason why you shouldn't just play it front to back. So for me, this is like the concept of leading. So what leading means is in every given fight, right? Someone's gonna lead the team. Someone's gonna go first, right? So in 90% of fights, it's assumed that your tank, like your main tank, probably your mag, is gonna start, right? Having said this, in situations like at the choke, when I said we might need to open the map, the concept of your more mobile characters leading from flanks is the thing that starts the fight. So, leads link directly into win conditions.
Okay, and I think this goes back. I remember we talked about like some of my games way earlier,
Yeah.
like in the like a couple months ago,
Mm-hmm.
where you said I have a little bit of a hero complex. And I think that this might be what you mean.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, let me do it.
100%.
And
So it's the concept of leading, and just understand this is a defensive ult fight. Right now, my Luna is gonna stop me from losing, you know? Now, what's interesting is that doesn't mean that you're AFK for the rest of the fight. Because the second that their Luna pops ult, it's no longer our Luna that wins us this game. It's honestly you, right? As the person closest to the ult. So sometimes you need to like take a step back to take 2 steps forward. Does that make sense? So it's just the fact that you are not leading this fight, but you can definitely close it, right? I call this concept like a 1+1, right? We start the fight with this and we close the fight with this, you know? If we defensive ult first, there is an aspect of how are we going to force out their defensive ult, so their defensive ult doesn't have so much of an advantage, like a 4 or 5 second advantage on our own, right?
Right.
The only way you can do that is by stacking and shooting out the Luna, you know? Now, there are definitely some characters like Star-Lord who could just full send an ult and guarantee that the enemy team matches with a Lunar ult, which isn't bad. But your ult is a special ult in the sense that it can very much kill through defensives, or at the very least, stall their push, right? Or split their push, you know? You can put the Moon Knight ult in the middle of us, and that will heavily impact the value that the Lunar ult gets, because all of a sudden they have to path around here. All of a sudden they have half their team here and half their team here, right? It's really interesting. I think I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I think I was also scared of the enemy Moon Knight.
Yeah.
That's just deciding to go, aha, I'm ulting all of you. And then like Luna's ult for me, like I never understand what my Luna's doing when it comes to positioning.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll walk a different way, and if we're in a Moon Knight ult, that means I can die. So I'm like, I don't even want to be in that situation. And sometimes I try to remove myself from 50-50s, but sometimes that just puts me in a worse position.
Yeah, and so the difference between that is, where is the starting position? Obviously, if you're like off screen, further at the back, then you could probably wrap around extremely safely here. But the thing is, the starting position is like everyone knows where you are.
I'm in the brawl.
Yeah, like everyone knows where you are. So, they'll just look at you. They'll see, okay, really good concepts coming out now. So, splits versus isolations, and I've given this talk so many times most recently, but for some reason a whole bunch of the people that I've been coaching, well, essentially, when I was competing in tier 1 Overwatch, it's called OWCS, the new format, we actually had to qualify for it. So it was an open tournament format, and my team qualified for it, which was really cool, because every other format before was like 100 teams, and you know, top 8 was top 8 and blah blah blah, and top 8 out of 100 teams is always fine. But this was cool because we qualified for it with all of the top teams trying to push in, right? We had, and I'll say this in Marvel Rivals terms, we had a Star-Lord player and a Psylocke player. When hard meta,
Was it Wait, I want to try to get Star Lord inside. Was it what Tracer and Sombra?
Close. Yeah, yeah. So I would say it was actually Tracer and Genji. It was Tracer and
Okay.
Genji. And I think in a weird way, Star Lord plays more like Genji than he does Tracer. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, and from the meta perspective, it was a hard hella Psylocke meta, let's say, right? And so the enemy team relied heavily on splits, off angling, setting up triangles around us, blah 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 blah. But we were like pretty run it down, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so all this one thing, I got my team to identify the difference between a split and an isolation. What would you say is the difference between a split and an isolation?
I feel like a split like weird. I would think that a split is a small off angle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you're still within the LOS of your supports.
Uh-huh.
They can still see you if you moved a couple steps back, or if you were like slightly more off to the right. Isolation is where I call them skirmishers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Star Lord feels like a skirmisher to me, right? Like where I don't really need LOS. I have so many defensive abilities. I have immunity frames. I have dashes.
Mm-hmm.
I know where my health packs are. Like I'm gonna whoosh,
Yeah.
whoosh. Like I can basically take any like quick 1v1. Like for example, where I am right now, I would consider a split,
Yeah.
but I would never isolate myself against Star Lord because he's gonna turn me into cheese.
Cool. Right. First and foremost, I don't think those are bad definitions, but it's important I get these definitions clear in the way
Right.
that I use them. Um, just so you could, it can translate. A lot of the time when I ask people for splits, people say, "Oh, splits are two people, isolations are one person." I completely understand what you mean in the sense of isolation, and then being skirmishes. I hear you use that word all the time, to be honest. But yeah, how I describe it is a split is deliberate,
Mm.
and an isolation is accidental,
Oh.
right? So, what I would do, considering that the enemy team, everyone was playing Hella Sai and I was stuck with a Star-Lord Sai, if we saw that their split looked deliberate, we would ignore it and play for completely different space. If it seemed accidental, we were fast enough to punish it, right?
Mm.
And what was really, really strong about that is because even if you think about this, right? This is a deliberate off angle from the enemy team. So if they're off angling here, I would see that as a split. You know what I'm doing? I'm just ignoring it. I'm going back and I'm
Mm.
playing completely different fight, right? The reason why that concept was so strong during that patch is because if you look at Hela is inherently getting value. Even if we're winning the fight, the time it takes, the damage that we're not outputting to the rest of their core, you know, that is
Mhm.
value in itself. If you look at a split, a lot of splits, the intention is literally just to force guns away from them, right? So the cool thing about this is every single gunfight we got ourselves into, this obviously Overwatch was a 5v5 game, but let's say if they were to split one person, at the very least, if we ignored it, we would take a 6v5, right? And if they were
Right.
isolated, we would take a 6v1.
Right.
Both sets of fights are in our favor every single time. Every single fight we had was in our favor, you know? And just the nature of the comp that we are on, if it was a 6v6 as well, our team would win if we just ran at them, right?
Right.
So how I usually say it is this is like a form of poke, but it's the most brawly form of poke there is when six people are looking one direction.
Mhm.
There are other forms of poke where like let's say a triangle where it's like 2-2-2 split. And like this all has the same amount of damage because essentially it's still six people looking in one direction. But what an isolation or a split does is it has one stack of six, and if we give attention to multiple positions, this is taking the damage of two people, one person, three
Mhm.
people. And it means that in turn, every single angle is taking less damage than if we just hit the same thing,
Put 6 on
shot the
1.
same thing. Exactly, right?
Hmm. I'm learning. Holy. Oh, bit.
This is really, really concept heavy. But I mean, I would always expect it to be concept heavy. In a conversation between, so like, you can always tell when something's gonna be concept heavy, especially when someone like can understand the concepts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I do skip large sections of the game, it's
That's
because
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just want to see like
I'm
as
not even
much as
included.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
This is a really ugly staggered fight. Really ugly staggered fight. So what I actually like about this is you used your ult to zone people out. You already swung it. You put it here, you knew where they were gonna walk, and you already swung where they were going to walk to. So that's good. Like if Moon Knight ult is being popped outside of an ult fight, you have to basically set up. It's setting up a combo essentially, right? Because no one's gonna die to
Yeah.
that, you know. But we're trying to play off the back of it, which is really good. Nice go. And you are just heavily zoning out the.
I think right here, I literally just sit on Star-Lord.
Yeah. It's fine. Seems to be winning. Yeah. Fine. And that is like your truest form of pills, right? Your pills is like the short disruption from the Ankh, and then like it's just pure damage output. And what I say is utility is the clearest way of like how often you should peel. If in your kit you don't have stuns, I probably wouldn't recommend just turning around and shooting someone that's already on you, because that's inherently like passive. This is like the longest point fight ever. Like you guys are borderline fighting over nothing right now, to be honest. Like this fight really doesn't mean anything for real.
Would you recommend, actually, that's a question I want to ask you. Like, if an ult fight has gone, like, if we're holding point for almost a minute now, I don't know how I killed that guy. If we're if we're fighting for almost a minute now, is there any point where I'm just like, all right, I shouldn't ult? Like,
So
if it's like a stagger versus stagger situation, or am I just like, all right, I'm not ulting here?
yeah. So in my opinion, how I judge it is fights either stop momentum, or ults either stop momentum, gain momentum, or win a fight outright. So in my opinion, if we're popping an ult and we're gaining momentum, then the enemy team responds with 3. It's extremely unlikely that we're gonna be able to turn that around without popping 4, you know? So it is really heavily around like chains of like popping 2 ults in a row with no response. I could get a lot deeper into that when there's an actual example of it. Right now we've gained momentum. And then boom, this second ult has won the fight outright, to my knowledge. This is the concept. We chain 2 ults in a row, the enemy has no response. So if they miss this mag ult, okay, they're committing. We're still committing. And this is kind of weird, right? The only reason why they're committing is because they still have control of the point. But right now, based on ult economy, I can already tell that we win this fight. And I hope that I'm correct in saying that. Because the enemy team had a really nice defense there, in the sense that it forced us out of everything for no reason. Like, that fight was won for us ages ago. But it was a necessary commitment from us. If we didn't commit, then they would have had point for another 20 seconds, and that's the worst thing. For me,
like a 70%, yeah.
Yeah. I'm always big on playing the game mode more than anything, right? In this game, you have to play around point control, point percentages, ult, charge, convoy, payload, progress, you know? That should be the forefront of every single play that you have. How can we get like an extra 10% here, you know?
Would you say it's a good idea for me to be like, I do this a lot when I'm fighting Angela. I literally just keep shooting at her, like, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it gets to a point where it's incessant. Like, all right, you're just like not.
Well, I think Moon Knight is a very versatile character in the sense that he gets value from stacked opponents.
Mhm,
So if you're looking at stacked opponents, you're trying to farm ult charge, right?
mhm,
Whereas in a neutral, by shooting Angela or shooting, I'll actually call it flyers, because even if you're marking Star-Lord, that's a lot of value, right? What you're doing is marking slash disrupting.
mhm.
And actually, this is a good question because I'm a big fan of getting my players to shoot flyers even if you wouldn't expect it. So if I'm coaching
Mm,
a team, I look at this comp and I would say that these three should be marking the flyers, right? But
mhm.
actually what you should do is you should use the context of your ult charge and the situation your other ult charge is, you know? Like
Mhm.
how badly do I need my ult? When will I get my ult by the next ult fight? Most, like 90% of the time the answer is yes, like you'll have your ult because you're Moon Knight and that's just what the character does,
Yeah.
right? But yeah. So if you need your ult, boom, shoot the stack targets just for a general neutral help. If both teams have flyers, if both teams have a Star-Lord, right? The team whose Star-Lord will pop off is the team who has their Luna, their Moon Knight, their, you know what I mean? The
Right.
other element shooting at the flyer. You know, because it's all a resource-based thing. Like you're killing the Star-Lord and the Angela permanently. But I definitely do think marking of those characters, both Star-Lord and Angela, is extremely important. And I think it does a lot.
See, and that's where I was thinking. I'm like, wait, damn, is it my fault for that? Like, I could have just counter ulted this if I wasn't shooting at Angela. Is what I was thinking.
I mean, but this is the thing, yeah. In my opinion, because look at the... do we have whole cult? It's weird. It's hard to say. I think that's very close to cool, because I would see, okay, we have a Phoenix ult, we have a whole cult. We're coming close to a Loki ult. I don't know. Very hard to tell. But yeah, you always want to prioritize charging up your ult more than anything, and then marking these flyers in the downtime. If you have your ult, actually it's more beneficial. So that's how I would judge it. On Moon Knight,
Mhm.
if you have your ult, it's more beneficial to mark flyers, because then if you're shooting these sort of people, then obviously you're just turbocharging their own support ult charge whilst also
Right.
not getting any value from your own. But
Right.
the distinction between shooting stacks, marking angles, should not impact your ability to go for those sneaky Ankh dive plays, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be doing all three, and you need to be cycling all three permanently, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind.
This would be a fire opener of like, I was so pissed here. I'm like, that's why I changed my camera angle immediately. I'm like, please, please heal me. But no, I think that's why so many times I'll like, I don't know. I try to off angle as much as possible. Like that's the thing. I watch a lot of your videos
Hmm.
where you coach other people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, these are concepts that I can understand. Like, yeah, this is a very easy to understand and digestible thing.
Yeah.
But like applying like Moon Knight, how you say Moon Knight's so versatile? It's like he has 3 different play styles.
Yeah.
He has 3 personalities, 3 play styles. Like it's really hard.
No, but it's facts though. And this is why the game is very like, have your own identity and be the best at what you do. Like that is the best feedback that I can have. When I was learning Rocket, like I completely blocked out the noise, and I do some freaky stuff that people, you know, people are still confused about when I play a character. But it's like It is very much true, and the good thing about a character that can do everything is the fact that every single one of your decisions will be viable. Now you can run it back and think, okay, this was optimal because of this, but every single play you make on Moon Knight, if you do it to completion, will be viable. So that's the redeeming factor about that. Just because we have like
I think, yeah, I'm about to say in that last moment, I think I overextended, but I
mhm,
broke. I try to look for like as much value as possible, especially when going up against like Rocket, for example. Like if I see a red Rocket pack anywhere, I go to it immediately and break.
yeah. I
Like,
mean,
I don't see that a lot with other players where they'll like look at Rocket Beacon, but then go shoot something, and I'm like, well, if you kill that guy and then you get met somehow, like he's back,
yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
am I tripping?
Always break. Always prioritize breaking because again, it's exactly what you said. Why are you shooting at other people when they're gonna be rezzed back? Playing into their win condition completely. You know what I mean? Kill the res
Mhm.
unless you can kill the rocket. And funnily enough, too many people kill one target, they get res out, and then go to the rocket next, and that is troll because it means that he has a res in 25 seconds instead of like whatever the cooldown is, 30, 35. It recently got changed,
Right.
right? So there is an element of playing around the res and playing more intelligently around the res, but 100% prioritize breaking that res beacon. Like in most games, there's like an element of okay, we have to break this before the fight is even playable, right? Like there's
Right.
always tech like that in every single
Like
video
pinning nest,
game.
basically, right?
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
I did it in the wrong order. I'm like, oh,
But it's fine.
yeah, right
Poke is
click to
enough to
force.
discourage people. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, balanced character. We good.
What's this guy doing? Once again, like I see this as a split, or do I see it as an
Mhm.
isolation? Actually, his kite, his backup, he's backed up very late. So funnily enough, if you guys can like double up on this guy and just kill him, this is an example of what I would call an isolation. Cause
Mhm.
he off angled deliberately, but he wasn't here deliberately. He was never meant to
Right.
be here at this phase in the fight, right? So this is why he's killable in comparison. Just like what I said, right? You took down a
Mhm.
1v1, right? And I never recommend taking full fair fights, you know? Like if you took one other teammate and just like murdered that guy, like
I think, and you know, I think this is one of the worst parts about ranked
mhm,
is I'll make that call like so. Real quick to preface, I don't play with comms on. Um,
mhm,
uh, I have a very bad temperament, right?
yeah,
So like so if there have been times where I've said, "Hey, support, can you walk with me while can you carry me while I fight this guy real quick?" And
mhm,
they'll be like, "No, I have to shoot down main," and I'm like,
yeah,
"But if we
exactly.
kill this guy, he does less damage to you."
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, people don't really think. What I've found is when I'm commenting stuff, people listen more. It's a a tactic actually. People listen more if you actually say their character's name before, you know?
Mm,
So like if I'm asking for care, I will literally say Phoenix care me. You know, and it triggers something in their neurons like
you're right.
where they just you know, the Phoenix is like, "Oh, I play Phoenix. Phoenix, he speaks to Phoenix, he speaks to me," and then they like they turn. But yeah, like it's the same. Yeah, it's like when you're speaking in a crowd, you want to say, you know, target people to get
It's
interaction
like
from
roll
people,
call.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the best way you can deal with something like that. But like, yo, it's still incredibly cooked. Like, people are so like unstable in this game. It's unreal.
Like like the simple stuff. Can you carry me real quick while I take this off angle and kill this guy? No. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried to stop them from walking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was an issue with that. How lucky.
Yeah, fucked.
But now this is okay. A strong, like this is a strong. How do I put it? So in a convoy map, I would say like any defensive position that's strong is a even stronger offensive position. Usually I use this
Mm-hmm.
concept on convoy because it's a lot easier to map out. Like, look, you've taken this high ground, you can stay here for free because they need point presence and they also need to turn around to mark you, right? But here, let's do my 75% rule. So I draw this. I want to take 75% of the map. Right now, this is like a 50-50 fight,
Right.
right?
And
But actually, because both areas of space that the enemy team are in is along this axis, it means that they can't just physically cut across that way. They have to go here into this area and here into this area. So that means that 50% of the map is contested ground. And because we have presence here and we do have half the presence here, it by trade means that we also have
presence.
control of that because they cannot cut across, right?
Yeah, because if I had Onk, for example, they definitely just couldn't walk into my area. Especially
Exactly.
support, they just die.
Exactly. So now what most people do is most people feel safe in an area like this, but this is bad because now all of a sudden this is 50-50, this is 50-50, this is 100% them, and this is 100% us, right? So you taking this position will literally win us a neutral 99% of the time, you know? The only thing that can change that is an ult fight.
I left that. Yep, Punisher.
Yeah,
I knew he was coming back.
But even so, like you can look for that. You can most definitely look to take that position very late into a fight. And I think is extremely valuable.
I think the Hulk just missed and then died. I think. Oh wait, no, he's alive. Never mind. He died after, but.
Oof, unlucky. I mean, your target power is good. I think it's fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can't peek that for long. Go for the burst damage and then just don't peek again. I would be too scared to peek that again.
I'm about to say, I'm standing on runes. That's why I'm like,
yeah,
we're on runes. We're good.
Nice go. No, that's cool.
I wanted him dead, yeah.
Fine, Trace. I mean, those are fine.
Yeah.
Do you have a Moon Knight ult? How does the Angela ult interact with Moon Knight ult? Does Moon Knight ult break?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool,
oh yeah. Cool. I was just thinking to myself, like, we already had lost, so I was like,
and they committed. Yeah. Your ult economy is so much higher than them, and you're also at a percentage advantage. So wiping there makes a lot of sense, in my opinion.
Like I'd only ever commit. Like I saw that Rocket late. Like if Rocket was like in a compromised position, then I'd ult him because my team coming back would just have support advantage.
Yeah.
I got hit with a rock. I was in a terrible position. I'm like, oh.
But how did this happen then? Your team walked without you.
Top, I went underneath.
I mean, your team also just walking for no reason.
I'd blame me over my team here because like, I could have just walked with them, but I went low.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with pathing in a different place. But what people need to do is stall attacks, right? This is a really good concept, right? Again, in Overwatch, Widowmaker is a sniper character. If our Widowmaker dies early into a fight, we continue the push because we know later in the fight, if there's chaos and people standing here and people standing here and keep people standing here, people standing here, much like what happened last fight with the Punisher, if my Widow comes late into the fight, she legit just has a sight line onto everything. You know what I mean? Because naturally, there is disorder. It's impossible to be in position 100% of the time in a fight. It's impossible, right? So what we would do is tactically, we would like simulate that, right? Where if you want to path a different way, wait until the enemy team takes first contact. Wait until the enemy team are taking a 6v5 because no one in this fight, when 5 people in front of them, no one is going to say their Moon Knight isn't here. No one's going to say that, you know? So yeah, you could take your time setting up and then boom, you could go for an aggressive play. You just it needs to happen later.
Really wide. Okay.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So this is how I mark swings is like anything anything your tank is, and the further up your tank goes, the wider my angle goes, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's a proximity
Because
it is definitely a proximity and aggression thing.
I've tried to rationalize the idea to like wherever like my tanks. Well, yeah, basically that. Yeah, my tank's range of motion is my range of motion. Right.
Exactly, because
But the way
if
you
you're
just made it in a diagram makes a lot more sense in my head now. Yeah.
in a weird way, if your tank is pushed up here, that implies that no one is behind them. Even if
Right.
you are like in a weird way, even if you are on height here, or like maybe more stacked further back, or you know what I mean. Obviously, this is like a terrible sightline. You can't see anything. So I'm going to use this as an example. That is like very
Right.
wide, very isolated, but no one's going to mark you because everyone is going to be stuffed by that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And you don't want to just fly by a Hulk. He might
Mhm.
stun you, and then the team makes a play on you. Right.
Exactly.
Oh, I killed the Star-Lord. Oh. I don't know how I killed that Star-Lord.
Have you already killed them? Oh,
Go, I think a little bit further back.
oh wait, that actually looked like nice aim. One sec. That was nice.
Then I'm scared. I'm so scared.
Yeah, I mean, your team, that's you got trolled.
Like, please, somebody help me.
Rage baited. And unfortunately here, this is a situation where I swap to Strange and I do TP. Because if you don't TP, that's game end. So for me, the rest of the game is just a Strange game. To be honest. Yeah,
so,
like...
actually, I do want to ask you. Are there moments where it's just better to...
Yeah?
Are there moments where it's just better for me to give up my ult and just go? Like, of course, like, here we end up winning. But,
Yeah,
like...
When
can I just give up my ult? Like, I'm just like, I've seen too many. So, like, for example, there's been times where I've been in comms where a support won't swap because they have ult, and I'm like, we can swap around the roles. You'll be 50, I'll be 50, and if we hold, I'll get an ult anyway.
Yeah, like...
But people are like, no, and I'm like, please, please.
Essentially, yeah, like you do... again, people learned that from Overwatch when you took 0% ult charge or 15% ult charge it is now. Like, people really hate swapping, but I think in this situation, burning the ult is good because like the game is over. Like, what we saving ult for? You know what I mean?
Right.
So the game would be over if we don't TP. And then on top of that, there are instances like if I'm getting hard rolled, like one time today I was playing Loki, Midtown, Moon Knight, like, you know, into Moon Knight, and it took me 3 fights to build up this one ult. I finally get to 100%, but I realized they kept first point and they had like a 6-minute time bank, and I was like, bro, I'm not playing this character because we just lost 3 fights in a row because of it, you know?
Right.
And then like again, support shouldn't complain about that because they'll get their ult. They'll get their ult in the next fight if they're at 50, if they're doing like literally anything.
How do we win this? Oh, they didn't kill Mag.
Didn't kill Mag.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, Mag got to just stay there, and
Yeah,
now
for
Hulk
sure.
stalls. Do I TP here? No, I don't.
You definitely should have TP'd there. Like,
Yeah, I think everyone's back except me, actually, at this point.
yeah, but I guess this is gonna have to be the final takeaway because I have scrims. But my main thing is I will TP at any given moment, like anytime it's up. A lot of the time, people are saying like, we could save it for a more valuable fight, blah 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 blah. But like, as far as I'm concerned, as if we have more than 2 minutes of the time bank, for example, we could go for a TP play every single time we get it, right? What people don't understand is we're 3 rounds in, right? We are 3 rounds in, and we're 20 minutes into the game. So we could have TP'd, waited for the cooldown 10 times in this space of time, 10 entire times, right? But for some reason, people only save it for the final fights. Whereas I'm not even joking. If I have 99% and the enemy team has 0% on point, I don't mind going for a TP play. Because I know,
Right, because we're gonna have 4 or 5 more fights, and I could
yes,
probably TP again.
yeah, there's a 30-second discrepancy where you might not have TP, but the
Right.
odds of that in comparison to the odds of not only winning the TP fight, but forcing out ults, which increases the chance of you winning. Because what you need to understand is taking a TP fight also implies that we're taking more fights, which means it's more opportunities to sway the ult fight in our favor, if that makes sense. We could TP. If we lose that fight, it's highly unlikely that we lose that fight off of a TP without them using ults in the first place, which also increases the chances of us winning the next fight. And by that time, if we go through 2-3 ult cycles and we don't cap a point in 100 seconds, that is completely on us, and it is not on the
Maybe we
TP we
deserve
can
to
test.
lose.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. This is the logic that I use. But I'm gonna have to wrap up the session there because yeah, I've got scrims now. We're 5 minutes into scrims, but
Heard
it's
that,
been a
heard that.
pleasure.